Previously, on Back to the Story. As a arrow flies through the air and into the mushroom cap a little ways below you. A second later, several more arrows are fired and arranged in a circle, embedded into the mushroom cap below your feet, surrounding you. The face itself is a beardless, female giant face, heavy brow with tattoos on her shaved temples. There seems to be a pattern to the tunnel itself, kind of these intermittent ridges, nearly perfectly circular. About the bottom half seems to be filled with water. Alright, looks like everybody's back. So, coming back to the story, you guys finished a short rest and are preparing to follow the river. What would you like to do?
So, Amson, Vesper, you're going back in the sphere for now?
I think so. Because we only have one boat, right?
Yes, yours.
Okay.
You said yours sits 3 people?
Yeah. I'm gonna run out to the pier and take off the patch and drop it, and the boat will appear.
There's Klaus, looking at the notes, there's nothing that I'd have to, navigate coming up, right? It's just gonna follow the river again for a while?
Yeah, the notes indicate, well, it seemed before when she went, there was no water. It was just a tunnel or a riverbed where water once was. There's some notes over thinking about or theorizing over what caused the tunnels, but it seems to be more or less a straight line.
What can we expect at the end of this?
More importantly, are we lucky enough that that the downward current is going to be where we have to go?
It does seem to be that it's heading in the right direction, and it indicates there will be a lake and the city at the end. What Dolgra mentions in her notes as the Sul-Basillium, this ancient, strange city of weird angles. But Amson, as you rip off the patch, a boat, canoe-like, of blue and white forms from it.
So it's 12 feet long, sits 3 people, and it's a rowboat.
This is going to be fun. I guess as long as nothing shows up and tries to eat our faces, we'll call you out after, as soon as we get to this lake, to the shore of it. I suppose you'd better take Pino with you inside.
Actually, Pino needs to stay out here with Ball. So, it's inconvenient, but can you lend them your wand? It won't function for them because they won't attune to it, but it can still let me speak.
Sure. Just, if we need to call you back in a hurry, can you pass it to me as soon as you're out? And I will hand it to Amson.
Don't worry, I'll give it to you as soon as we get out.
Actually, wait. I'll give you my shield instead. That's going to debilitate me less. I'd rather you be more accurate. So take the shield instead of the wand.
Oh, okay.
Don't worry, Felix, I'll protect you.
Okay. And so as Felix and Ellery climb into the rowboat, with Pino, it sounds like, and Ball has spider climb cast upon him, and he walks onto the edge of the wall and ceiling. You guys begin to follow the river down, as it sounds like the others, Amson and Vesper, get some rest in the sphere. You guys follow along. The water is rushing initially, moving the boat quickly. You don't even have to paddle. After about 30 minutes or so, it slows down a little bit, though there's still enough of a current that it pulls you down. Consistently, the tunnel is nearly a perfect circle, as far as you can tell above the water at least. There are ridges on the interior, with some every now and then growths of moss and fungi, pieces of rubble, maybe rocks that have been strewn about as you follow this tunnel.
So, what do you think made this tunnel, Felix? If you had to guess.
Well, considering the pier was giant made, they would be the easiest guess. They may have employed either magic. Actually, magic seems the most likely tool to carve something so perfect.
My thought, because we saw those stones and the carvings on them, the runes, if we're inside this Titan body, what if this is like a vein or something like that?
Curious. Possibly, given we were near the gallstone, we may also be somewhere near the urinary tract.
Oh, lovely. What's in this water again?
How deep does the water seem to be, out of curiosity?
It's hard to tell. If you have a stick or something, you could try to reach the bottom.
I assume the rowboat came with oars, so if I stick one of those in.
Okay. You have to lean pretty far down, but it doesn't seem to be that deep. Seems to be the tunnel is maybe the water about halfway fills the tunnel up. So it seems to be a circular. It doesn't go very deep. No deeper than the ceiling is high above your head.
Okay. How's Ball doing? Does he have to jog after us, or?
Initially, he would, with the current quick enough that's pulling the boat along. Ball would have to jog, though. After a little while, it did slow down, and Ball can speed walk to keep up.
Ball's doing that Nordic walking thing. I don't remember what it's called.
The crossing a crosswalk jog.
Yeah, that. I was thinking it's like Nordic pole walking. It's like an Olympic thing, I think. Anyway.
So as you Nordic pole walk upside down, hanging from the ceiling, and the boat drifts along this tunnel, about an hour or so goes by. At some points, the downward angle makes the current move faster, and sometimes it slows down. As you are following it along, you begin to slow down more and more, to the point where you need to start to use the oars.
I look at the oars and look at Felix and say, well, I'll do my best with these, but you might be doing more of the work than I am.
Aren't you like a water god now or something?
I don't know what I am, but what I do know is that I'm not super strong.
Felix will look down at his own perfectly average arms. And, okay.
As you guys slowly paddle and Ball walks above, Ball, you get to the point where the ceiling of the tunnel stops, and the boat kind of drifts out into an opening, a cavern. It is large enough to where you can't see the sides or the ceiling. You can smell and hear this kind of acrid water moving, drifting, though it's much still now. Listening, why don't you all give me perception checks?
That's a nat one for me.
23.
Oh, thank God. So that's a 5 for Ball.
So Ball,
What do my elf eyes see?
Ball and Ellery, you guys just hear the sound of the water. Felix, you hear the water, but you also hear the occasional loose rocks falling from the ceiling. It's hard to tell, but you're gauging several hundred feet up. You hear occasionally flaps of wings. You hear a strange noise that echoes once, this mournful wailing sound, this moan, high-pitched. and you see in the distance, across the lake, in the center of it, the outline of an island of sorts. It's far past the extent of your dark vision, but it's silhouetted by this deep purple glow. You can see what looks like maybe vines or something that are growing in patterns, glowing this deep purple, dim light. Though it's strange, whatever is causing this it doesn't seem in a natural pattern. It seems to be almost purposeful, right angles, hard angles, along the structures on this island in the distance, maybe 120 feet into the center of this cavern. And what was the 23? Is that total?
Correct. Yeah.
You hear movement from the island. It's hard to tell, but it's rhythmic, almost like footsteps, heavy.
Okay, well, we're here, though the island appears to be very inhabited. Did the notes mention anything about inhabitants?
It seemed when Dolgra visited, it was largely uninhabited.
So much new activity. Okay. Well, if we don't mind waiting here a few minutes, I can check it out.
Check it out how?
I learned a new trick.
Okay. Let's see it then.
I don't know that there's much to see. Well, not for you. And I will close my eyes for a minute. And then when I open them, I think Ellery sees like a little third eye glow in pink on my forehead that sort of like pulls away and then turns invisible. And I will cast Arcane Eye.
Oh, that's weird. Kind of cool, though.
So that gives me, it's a invisible magical eye that hovers for up to an hour. It has normal vision and dark vision out to 30 feet, sees in every direction, and I see through it concurrently with my own visions. So I'm going to just float it over to the island and get as much of a pass with as much time as I have. As long as Ball's cool, like, sitting on the wall.
I'm cool with that.
Okay, why don't you give me an investigation check to see how much you see as you search.
I can do that. And yay, investigation. I'm still rolling well. That is a 27.
Okay. So, as you push this eye across towards the island, you look upon dark and fairly still waters. The water is sooty, thick. You can see more than an inch down into the waters. And as you come towards this island, it's not an incredibly large one, but you do see the ruins of the city? Question mark. As the island ramps up towards the right, there's sort of a rocky beach on the left as you kind of arrive. The water's kind of lapping up on the sand, very slowly shifting. As you move towards the city, you see the ruins of it, the walls and what remains are in strange angles. The material is not quite stone, but it's not metal either. It's a unique material you haven't seen. And atop the hill, the target, you can see a pyramidal monolithic structure, maybe over 100 feet tall. You see a dark purple light coming out of the top of it. As this arcane eye moves through this strange and alien city, it seems largely abandoned. As you push your eye through, there's a strange and uneasy feeling, like there's something there, like moving through static. And does this arcane eye, can it hear? Can it listen?
No, purely visual.
Okay. So it isn't warned by sound. It's quiet and silent. But you see stepping out from behind one of these ruined structures, dark structures, is a tall, 18 feet tall, gray-skinned figure, elongated, beardless, hairless, tattoos upon them, carrying a large spear, hides. And you see coming out of or rather clinging to the back of its skull as a strange squid-like entity. The eyes of this individual are glossed over as it seems to be patrolling, circling around the city. As you watch it cross one of the old roads and enter in between two more buildings, the Sentinel. As the arcane eye moves in, you see more collapsed ruins and broken alleys, and you see these strange, what you saw from a distance, the vines, but they're not. They're these strange crystal circuits. Some are intact, some seem broken, many are dim. But as you come closer and closer towards the temple of the city, some seem to be repaired and are glowing that dim purple light. They move in these crystals in right angles, stopping, integrating chords. You see another one of these giants, and then another. They seem to be rotating around. There seems to be a few more as you come closer towards the inner circle and the large pyramidal temple. As you're moving into this sort of inner city, where there seems to be a partially collapsed inner city wall that's no longer intact, these glowing circuits, and most of them have been repaired in this area, all seems to be focusing and moving either siphoning towards or siphoning away from this central pyramid or temple. Most of these circuits in this area are intact, glowing that purple color. And as you're moving, you get additional strange sensations, like a psychic aura, a strange color, script ruined on some of these collapsed structures. The script seems to be secondary, as there's some sort of psychic energy ruined coming from some of the collapsed buildings. You see another 3 of these giants that have these squid-like entities clinging to the back of their heads. And you also see these strange orbs, these semi-translucent orbs the size of a fist. They're glowing this kind of dim purple-blue light, and they have a spotlight that seems to be focused. It goes out about 60 feet, and it's about a 10-foot diameter that focuses, searching, patrolling around, looking. As you move further, you can see in full view this large pyramid. It's about 100 feet tall, maybe a little larger. Strange stone angles, not made out of bricks, but this solid material. The circuit seemed to focus in towards it, glowing purple, and the top seems to be open as light seems to be coming out of the top of it. There's another strange psychic aura that makes you feel uneasy. Your mind almost starts to throb, like the beginnings of a migraine. A presence here. The temple has ramps that go up, where you see another one of these giants. Do you enter in with your arcane eye?
Yeah.
Okay.
What's the worst that could happen?
The giants don't seem to notice the orb at all as it floats up, moves past the ramp and into a foyer, stairs leading up further, where it enters this strange chamber, devices with these circuits bound to them. They run over the walls in strange language-like patterns. You see a strange device and almost an altar in the center. Scalpels and other tools and instruments along it placed. You see pieces of matter, gray matter, laid upon this altar. You see drops of blood where procedures have been performed here. There's a few doors. There's a large one ahead that seems to be heading towards the central area of this pyramid. One smaller one to the left, and then another to the right. The one to the right has many different circuits heading out of it, as well as many coming from the central area. Which way did you want to explore?
I mean, let's go to where all of the circuits are going, because that seems like the worst place.
So there's the forward, the central one, where the doors are larger and there are circuits, a good amount of circuits heading from that. And there's a smaller door, a more humanoid-sized door to the right that actually has more circuits, but is a smaller door.
Let's go to the one to the right first.
Okay.
If there's a gap, even an inch in diameter, the eye can get through.
Okay. There is, and you can slip through, following these circuits that now run along the floor and the walls and the ceilings in this fairly narrow hall stairway heading down, where you eventually find the circuits begin to terminate, plugging into these strange alien devices, these circuits of glowing purple crystal, plugging into this pulsing crystal of pink, this dendritic pink crystal that ends in like a hand reaching up from below. There's a circle of these circuits in a 15-foot diameter circle. The floor is glass, as you can see this pink crystal nerve leading down as far as you can see. And in the center of that is a pedestal where it appears a purple crystal plugs into and connects the pink crystal to the circuitry.
And the pink crystal, is that something I recognize?
That seems very familiar. And you've seen, not a device exactly like this, but you've seen something similar when you first encountered Aeon.
Yeah, but the thing around it and the purple crystal that's like sticking in, that's all foreign, right?
The purple is different. It seems to be interfacing into the pink.
Okay. Yeah, don't like this. So I'm going to zoom back out and go through the big door now.
Okay. Heading into this large, 20 feet tall, 10 feet wide, double door slipping through one of the cracks. There are two stone giants standing beside this doorway, as well as one of those orb spotlights that's kind of searching intermittently in a strange pattern, the spotlight moving, shifting, searching, but doesn't seem to notice you. Inside, as you move past these guards into the last chamber, this is a large pyramidal chamber. That reaches up high. There's columns to either side, holding up a glass top. And towards the end, there is a raised circle, a pool of this strange liquid glowing purple blue, with another one of those more powerful auras, this psychic presence coming from it. You see a figure standing next to a device nearby it, fumbling with crystal and a small screwdriver working on something. You see this figure is hooded and elongated, of dark purple flesh, pointed ears, like the drow you encountered before, but coming from where its mouth should be are numerous tentacles that hang down. Its eyes widen, its skull elongated backwards, as if struggling to contain a swelling mind. And overlooking over this creature's shoulders, you see a pool of water where you see the beginnings of what you fought before, the beginnings of another elder brain, small, but just starting.
I will refocus my vision onto Ellery. Oh, fuck.
Your face right now does not fill me with joy.
Yeah, well, I saw a lot of what appear to be giants with brain octopuses controlling them like zombies. And there is a man with an octopus on his face that appears to be making another one of those big brains that we fought.
You mean the one that almost killed us?
Yeah, this one's a lot smaller.
Well, that's good, except that it seems to have, friends? Or something?
Yeah, it's not great. What is more concerning to me is the large pink crystal similar to the device that I obtained Aeon that they appear to be tapping into and utilizing for some purpose, I believe, to generate this brain.
Ah. Well, did you see a way to get past all of this?
What do the notes say we have to do? Do we go around this hellscape, or do we have to go through it?
So the notes you have, Dolger went and did a few expeditions, going a little farther each time. The last notes that she left before going on her expedition she didn't return from theorized about using the dendritic machinations to travel through the nerves of Norithil into the spine and beyond.
So that would be the pink crystal thing?
That would be a good guess.
Yeah, that's... No, I'm afraid that is our destination. Right in the middle of that.
Well, fuck. Okay.
We should try and find a place to at least pull the boat over, get either us all in the orb or all outside of it where we can chat. I think as long as we stay quiet, the stone giant zombies didn't look particularly intelligent, but I was an invisible eye at the time.
Yeah, did you see a spot where we can land this boat that's not going to be too close to any of the giants that you saw?
Can I have Pino do a perimeter around the outside of this giant chamber and see if there's any other land masses that we could just stop on? Maybe like on the other side of the lake?
Yeah, there's hedges around where you might be. There's a few feet where you could manage, but Pino can begin to search. Give me an investigation for Pino.
That is not Pino's particular strong suit. Ooh, but I rolled okay. I'm rolling really well. So I think that might... Where's Pino's sheet? Where did it go? I rolled a 14, and I think it's only a +1 or +2. I can't find a sheet right now.
Okay. It'll take him a little while, but he does eventually find there's a few other towards the right side of the chamber. In this chamber, he doesn't explore all of it. He probably only explores about a fourth of it, and it is pretty massive. But he does find some smaller islands towards the right side of the chamber.
Yeah, if there's enough room that we can all kind of huddle in a circle, then we'll go to that.
Yeah, and it's maybe 35 feet across or so, but enough to where you can arrive there and get everyone out, if that's your intentions.
All right, let's go there, and I'll get everybody out of the orb.
So coming out, some of you that haven't seen it now can kind of see it's dark, but because the dim glowing purple circuitry, it glows and silhouettes a ruined skyline of a city on an island nearby, about over 100 feet away from where you are.
So I'll go over what I saw and say, so that's our destination.
So do you think this brain is in charge of everything, or is there something else?
Difficult to say. I couldn't hear anything. I don't know. The creature that was in there with it looked like it was experimenting or maybe trying to help it. I don't know.
Like a weird brain nursery?
Maybe?
We can't just
give them some more whiskey or wine, can we?
I have my doubts that would work in this particular situation.
Get the elder brain super drunk.
Just pour it into
That's
its...
a big brain move.
Sneak past, and we're golden.
Do you think we could sneak into that place? I mean, it did seem like there were a lot of guards, but...
Where precisely do we have to go? Do we have to be in that temple?
Yes, I believe so. Her notes theorize that they could use the crystal to get into the spine or the nervous system, I guess. So I'd have to study that to see if I could recreate what her expedition did, and I don't think I'm going to be able to necessarily do that quickly. The notes aren't complete enough to know exactly how she was planning on doing it. It's not something I know already.
So we might need to make sure you have enough time to look at it properly and figure it out.
Did that part seem particularly guarded?
Yeah, there's a couple sentries right outside of that door. But other than that, there weren't that many inside the temple. If we could somehow get through the city and prevent anything from coming in after us, it would be a fairly limited number of things we would have to face.
Could we use the chalk to get into that room? You saw it. So, it doesn't have to have a circle, right? Amethyst said we could just draw a circle shape and it would take us where we want to go for the most part.
I mean, I've seen it once. The problem is with this kind of magic, the misses tend to be miles off.
Or we could use Melly's cloak that I never gave back. And...
Does that take all of us?
Well, if most of us are in the sphere, Felix could use the cape, since he's seen where he needs to land. And then we all pile out as soon as we're in the room. Or whoever needs to pile out to make sure that there's a way to block the door.
That could work. I would say even as an arcane eye, I could feel some kind of psychic interference. I have a feeling as soon as we're in, it will be known that we're in.
Are we gonna have to kill this fucking brain?
I imagine we're at least going to have to kill his guardian. Its guardian.
Do you think we can make a distraction to make it easier to get closer? Maybe the giants... Are they giants? Or, like, how do we describe them as giants?
Yeah, they do seem to be giants. Beardless, hairless giants.
Maybe these giant creatures aren't quite as smart as the brains behind them. We could move them away. So if things get a little messy, it might be easier.
My concern is that they've got the things in their brain. And just from our fight with the Elder Brain, it attacked all of us at the same time within our minds. What if it can call out a distress signal to everything in the city that's got one of these things in its head?
Which is why I think our best bet is possibly to get into the temple and then seal it somehow. If we can do that, we only have to deal with the things that are in there, which I didn't look through all of it, but there weren't that many inside. Certainly fewer than there were on the outside.
Right, so then how do we seal it?
I have a couple spells, but both are very temporary. I can make a wall of force that lasts up to 10 minutes. And maybe telekinesis, if I can, like, break apart some rocks or something and put them in front of the door, but that's all I got.
The best I can do is be a wall.
I can summon an angelic guardian to stand in one of, like, doorways, but that's about all I can do.
Klaus, the entryway into the temple, how big was it?
The entry, initial entrance had doors that were maybe 20 feet tall, 10 feet wide, double doors. Some of the other doors were smaller, but the initial entry doors were that big and similar size for the entry into the elder brain chamber. The doors down into the dendritic machination and the other side were smaller.
If this brain is controlling these giants, I mean, it can't control them if we kill it? I don't know if that should be our first choice,
It's
but
much smaller than the last one we defeated.
It's possibly the best usage of our time if we can take out the head, and based on what we know of this thing's capability, it's not a reach to assume that it is required for the domination of these things.
And what did this domination look like? You said they had something in their heads?
Yeah, some kind of squid-like creature attached to the back of their heads. Their eyes were milky and white.
Do you think if we do encounter these giant creatures, we can, if we focus those, whatever those are, maybe we can sever that connection, perhaps make some allies?
The brain is a creature, right?
Yes?
What if I tried to banish it?
I mean, that would work for a temporary reprieve. It might temporarily stop them. It might permanently stop them. It really depends. Could be worth a shot, though.
definitely a tactic to keep in mind when we're in there. Again, not sure if that should be our first priority, but my worry is when we fought that older brain, it was real good at making us real useless. When it was just that we were contending with, it was hard enough, but this other brain, even though it's smaller, it has a whole lot more backup. Also, we're going into its home.
Problem is, I don't think we have a choice. I mean, we can try and get in, but if we're caught in that very small room, unable to move on, that is a very bad place for us all to be.
I just keep having mental images of the last time we had an entire city against us.
I mean, it's a risk. And if we don't think it's worth it, we can move on to another item. But we're here, and we know the path we have to take. I think if we can figure out a way to get through the city without causing a ruckus, get into the temple, and I don't know, find a way to stop them from coming in. How do we do that?
All right, as someone who's really doesn't want to waste any time on this, what if we do it in the morning? What if we take a rest, talk over what spells we all know? Those of us who pray for them or prepare them, we can figure out what we want to take in with us.
No, I think that's a good idea. We should be at full strength and prepared, so tomorrow is a better option. Does anyone have anything that might help?
We can protect each other from evil and good. Well, a few of us can.
I've been, just as a general rule, keeping that ready. Go ahead, Vesper.
Oh, no, go ahead.
No, I didn't have anything. I didn't have anything else important to say about it.
I've got silence, so if we can get in there quietly, I can make sure that we stay quiet.
Normally I'd say that I always have silence, but because it requires concentration to make sure that it stays, it might actually be a good idea for you to have it, because then I can concentrate on something else just in case. Do we think we'll need a feather fall tomorrow? If not, I was thinking on getting expeditious retreat prepared, just in case we need a little extra speed to get out or something.
I still have a scroll of Featherfall, so if you want to hang on to it, you're welcome to it.
Sure. I can hang on to the scroll and then I can prepare a different spell.
Out of character, would casting command on the brain work and then just tell the brain to, like, stop concentrating?
Yeah, I'm sure the brain has a real easy wisdom save.
Yeah.
I'm sure we have Portent that might help.
I have to roll those.
Doesn't command only last for like a turn?
Yeah, but if it's like a concentration spell, once you lose concentration, you'd have to you lose the spell.
I mean, still with command, it has to be one word, and I don't know how we get exactly what we want from stop?
I could take calm emotion. Do you think that would work? Just tell the brain to chill the fuck out.
So, ideas I have on how we can possibly block door. I don't know how we get it in there. I could fabricate something to try and bar it.
I have a ladder.
Yeah. Fabricate takes 10 minutes though, so I would have to like somehow get in there with it, so that's not going to work. Stone shape does not work on work stone, so I don't think that's gonna. Oh no, it does. It just
meld into stone. Does that help anybody? Probably not.
No, that just lets you like be stone for a little bit.
Oh. How big was the thing that it was in? Pool?
You gotta have some more specifics. What?
The pool that the Elder Brain was in, how much water roughly would you say was in it? You/God?
A good amount of total water. It was taking up maybe a less than a sixth of the total pool. And the pool was maybe 40 feet in diameter, circular, going down, I don't know, 10 feet, 15, hard to say.
Oh. Well, because I have Creator Destroy Water, and at first level, it destroys up to 10 gallons, but I can use up to an additional 10 gallons for every level that I cast it at. Could just try and dry it out, but I don't think it's going to work.
I think that's more gallons than you can handle.
Definitely.
I also don't think that's water. That's like mucus.
Yeah.
I mean, I can try and make a tiny servant cannon.
If we go in there and we do need to kill this brain, we need to hit it with a lot of damage really fast. We don't want to give it a chance to put us out of commission. And we don't want to give it a chance to call backup.
Okay. Well, idea. We fly overhead. I guess I could wear the cloak since I've seen in there, but get above the pyramid, dimension door directly into the brain chamber, and just surprise attack.
Rebuttal. What if there are protective anti-teleportation magics like we have run into in the past?
Well, that would suck.
Well, then wouldn't it just not work? And
Hopefully.
I can get myself out if I land on the outside.
I mean, you've seen what this being is able to do to the giants. If it doesn't go well, you might not be able to get out.
I have a new spell that I learned recently, and it's a bit risky. He gets a few chances to try and shake it before it becomes, well, a week-long issue for him. I can infect something with a type of contagion, and one of the things I can do is essentially create a feverish state of mind. It'll give it out of character disadvantage on intelligence checks and intelligence saving throws, and the creature behaves as if under the effects of confusion.
Hell yes.
But basically I have to touch it. It's a melee spell attack. and it has to make Constitution saving throws at the end of each of its turn. After it fails 3, the disease lasts for 7 days. If it succeeds on 3, though, then it recovers and the spell ends.
So I'm gonna be the shitty rules person here. That particular spell has been errated to hell. The disease effect you are choosing does not actually take effect until it fails 3 saving throws. When you touch it, it is simply poisoned, and then because otherwise there's one that like gives it disadvantage on Constitution saving throws, so like it's one of the worst ones. So it is a amazing thing, but it does not do the amazing things until after it fails those 3.
Still.
Well, if we need to fight it, I can hit it with a lot of damage all at once, along with a couple of its friends. Though I can't do that a lot.
I do kind of think we're gonna need time to figure out how to get through here. More than just a minute or 2. So if we can eliminate the threat, that's going to be our easiest way through, even though I'm sure the elimination will not be easy.
So maybe that's what we do. We go in and try to eliminate the threat as fast as we can.
If we are concerned about the temple itself having protections against teleportations, I could get myself right to the door and slip in.
I feel like it's worth it to try to teleport in to the place we want to land first, and then if that doesn't work, hopefully invisibility will work.
True. I could also pack gaseous form. It's less subtle, but...
What if I turn you invisible before you turn into a gas?
I would have to cast the spell, so it would break it. You could turn me into it afterwards, maybe?
That's
I'm still a creature.
Oh, wait,
What if Ellery turns you into a bug like we did in the fire plane?
I do not trust a bug's intelligence to get me through this.
It's a fair point. I think invisibility would be better than being a bug anyway. If we do use the cape, it might be good if I'm with you when you try that. You can take me along with you, and if we're going in to fight, I can immediately cast my biggest spell while the others are coming out.
I mean, it's worth a shot. We've already dealt with one of these creatures. I don't think we're trying to redeem it.
Felix, the ring that you're working on, would that protect against this?
Not quite. The normal ring, even when enchanted, only prevents really mental communication. It wouldn't be able to read your thoughts. It may prevent some aspects of it, but those, I don't even know what it was, psychic screams? I'm not sure. I don't think it's powerful enough to defend against those.
Well, it was a thought, anyway.
I can provide one of us resistance against psionic assault. Hopefully take a little less damage. Ball, perhaps you can take it. I don't think flying shoes are going to necessarily be needed in this particular fight, so I can give you psychic resistance instead.
I'm sure that would help. Would anyone else need it more than I will? I can take a few hits.
Might help with some concentration spells.
It's up to you. It does require attunement, but I can enchant anyone's armor who isn't already wearing magic armor.
Out of character, Ball could use it and then just like try to act like the tank. Though I don't know exactly what this brain would do. Like, it might be smarter than that and just be like, all right, I guess I won't go for the ball.
Considering the last time we faced one of these, there was a lot of area of effects. It's more just keeping you up because you hit like a truck.
Especially if you're using a protection spell, that will help you keep your focus on it. The same can go for any of us who use that, but...
Speaking of maintaining focus, do you think brains burn well?
If not, I'm sure the creepy robed fucker with the tentacles on his face will.
I don't suppose I can have that return in dagger today.
If Ellery does not want the wand. Or I could get rid of Pino.
I mean, my best spells for this are gonna be less precise than the wand might be useful for.
Okay.
Follow-up question. Can you turn the poison dagger? I thought we had a brief discussion of that, but...
Yes, I can. And I believe I've never used the... I think we put some poison or acid in at some point that I've never used.
That would be very good to poison the pool if we have to.
Okay, I can trade that out. Ball will get armor instead of shoes.
And to clarify, by armor you mean the psychic armor.
Yes, I'll give
Okay.
you psychic resistance.
So, how many people did you say you saw in the temple?
I know what George remembers is just the two in front of the door, the two stone giants in front of the door to the brain chamber, and the mind flayer and the brain in that chamber. Were there any other guards? Oh, there was that weird light thing.
Yeah, so there was a few rotating giants, kind of just patrolling around. Once you got to the actual temple, there was one at the initial entrance, giant, and then once you got to the antechamber right before the Elder Brain room, the antechamber that leads into both the Elder Brain room and then down into the dendrite machination, there were two stone giants and a spotlight orb creature. And then inside the Elder Brain room, there was the Illithid and the beginnings of an Elder Brain.
So, if we can get inside, I mean, you raise a good point about it may be protected, particularly that chamber. We should have a backup in case if we try and use the cloak and it fails. So, I guess gas form, but that will only help me. Does Amson have Dimension Door in case we need to try it again?
Yeah, that's actually something that I was maybe thinking, like Amson Dimension Door halfway in, and then Felix can Dimension Door the rest of the way. Or whatever. And then I'll have another Dimension Door, because I've got a few of them, so... we can cover like 1,000 feet instantly.
I mean, we could try and Dimension Door into the, main chamber right after the entrance and see if there's some way we could block off the door, seal it, a stone shape or something in there. It would mean fighting through the two guards on the way in, but it's less than 30 of them joining the fight later.
Like I said, I can block off any entrance we need, but I can only block it for 10 minutes.
I think it would probably be better if we can to get directly into the brain's chamber if we're planning to fight it.
So, I know that it is not as ideal damage-wise, but perhaps it should be Amson and Felix. That way, if it doesn't work, we're not stuck up on the stick, awkwardly trying to figure out how to get into the temple. We can either Dimension Door inside or directly out the side of the front door and hope we can slip in before that giant has time to react.
And then I have invisibility that I can put on both of us, or greater invisibility on one of us if for some reason we need that. Or seeming. I don't know. Freedom of movement. I've got a bunch of utility spells.
Probably the best backup would be for Amson to make you both invisible, and then try to slip in that way.
I think that's the best plan we've got.
And then just make sure you call us out as soon as possible.
We'll all count and go on the 3 or something.
So you're thinking of trying to dimension door into which room? The Elder Brain room, or directly into the Dendrite room, or which one?
I think we're going directly into the Elder Brain room.
Okay. And if that doesn't work for any reason, you want to try invisibility and sneak through the main entrance.
Yes.
Okay.
AKA, it will not work.
And everyone else besides Felix and Amson will be in the sphere. Is that y'all's plan?
Yeah.
Okay. And you'll talk through something in order to let them know, and they'll be able to exit.
Yeah, my basic idea would be like have everybody ready, and then it's basically if we do get right in, our surprise round is essentially everyone will mostly be doing nothing except coming out of the sphere, but we'll all be there.
Except if we have it on a countdown, then if the initial dimension door doesn't work and you have to invisible through, and we all pop out,
Oh,
well,
right.
you're in the middle of doing that.
I can think to you right after it's ready to say go. They all fall on top of the temple. Oops, I didn't think about this. Well, goodbye, world.
Oh, was the door to the brain chamber closed or open?
It was closed. Yeah.
I'm definitely going to switch out Detect Evil and Good, because I think I can tell where that's coming from.
Yeah, I should probably pick something more useful than that as well.
Do we want to skip over, hey, we took a long rest? Because I'm thinking I'm going to take Silence, Bane, and Stone Shape. Instead of Detect Evil and Good, Commune, and Speak with Dead, because I'm not using those.
I'll switch out Featherfall for Expeditious Retreat.
I think that's handy, because I wouldn't need components.
I'm also going to switch Catapult for Grease.
I'm going to prepare Purify Food and Drink.
I almost thought about that to see what I could do with the pond, but I'm like, I don't know that would actually help.
I'd like to coat my weapon in poison right before we do our stuff. Also, Ball will kind of clarify, who should I put my blessings on to protect from evil and good?
I think either you or Vesper. Last time you held up real well against that other brain. And Vesper
Did
well,
the opposite.
Vesper's the one who can, heal us the most when we're all battered and bruised at the end of this, or at the beginning of this.
And I'm going to try the banishment if it works. And I need to concentrate.
Very well. Anything else that we need to switch out?
I'm trying to figure out what I put in my spell storing item today.
It wasn't the
Spider Plank was in
Okay.
there, but I don't know if we need it for this, and there may be a better option.
maybe like a way to heal or a way to escape, that kind of a thing.
I mean, I could just put Cure Wounds in it, and then we get 10 castings of that, or Lesser Restoration.
Lesser Restoration would be really good. And I've got Greater as a domain spell, so I've got that if we're really, really fucked.
Yeah, it doesn't do stun, but paralyze, poison, blinded, deafen, so...
Up to what level can you put in your spell storing?
Second.
Okay.
I mean, I could do Aid. but that's really just going to be cast it twice at the beginning, and then it doesn't do anything.
Catapult, give Pino an attack.
Who says Pino doesn't already have an attack?
I could prepare Sanctuary if there's somebody who's planning on not attacking.
I'm probably not going to attack. I'm probably just going to concentrate on spells.
If you want something else, I almost always have that prepared.
I honestly don't have much else that's going to be useful.
Then I will prepare something else today.
Oh yeah, clerics don't have very many first level spells. Ellery, shoot a 240-foot guiding bolt.
I'm sure the chamber's going to be that big.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we'll do.
So y'all are going to be taking a long rest in the sphere?
Yeah, Pino and I will keep watch.
Okay. Through the night, you can hear the patrolling giants. It's quiet enough down here that even their distant footsteps carry. And occasionally you see the shifting lights of those spotlight orbs that seem to be accompanying them under the dim purple glow of the circuitry. And eventually the long rest concludes and everyone else awakes. So is Amson and Felix, are they going to get on the staff while the rest get into the orb? Or what would you like to do?
Does anybody have any bells? Something that could make noise, something small.
I have ball bearings that can make a little bit of noise, but not a lot.
That might work. Anyone have like a tin cup?
I'm sure my myth kit does.
Well,
doesn't yours? Don't you have a wine glass?
Yeah, but it'll be louder if it's metal.
That's the reason.
Well, all I was going to say is I could make it alive and have it cause a distraction.
That's certainly an idea. I will hand over my bag of ball bearings.
Sure, and then I'll take whatever mug or whatever. Ooh, a teapot, actually. I'm sure Felix has a teapot, and that has a lid. So I will grab a teapot and then cast Tiny Servant. That takes a minute, and Felix will scribe a bunch of symbols on this teapot. That will then develop pink glowing little eyes, similar to Pino, and little crab-like legs.
Pino.
Okay, I'm about to lure a bunch of giants with it. Don't get attached.
It's gonna get smashed so fast.
Well, I'm gonna put it far enough away and just have it run through the island.
Hopefully close enough to this temple that you can catch the attention of the guards out front.
We'll see.
Okay. So do you send this teapot off?
I'm gonna wait. My plan was to swoop down by the beach and drop it off, pour some ball bearings in it, and then send it scurrying.
Okay. To drop it off, do you and Amson ride and the rest are in the sphere? Do you do that alone?
I think the plan is me and Amson on the stick.
Okay. And the rest in the sphere? Okay. And are y'all invisible on the stick or not?
I can make us invisible. It lasts 1 hour.
I think that would be a good idea.
3rd level invisibility. Boom.
So, Amson and Felix, you'll turn invisible, the rest in the sphere, getting upon the staff, flying it to the beach, where Felix, you drop off the crab-scuttling Tino. Do you tell it to immediately start making noise, or just crawl off, rattling as it goes?
I'll have it wait 5 and then, like, hop so it makes a lot of clattering its way. So give us a little bit of a head start and then start trying to draw their attention.
Okay, so it begins waiting its 5 minutes as you guys fly where?
Right above the pyramid, I guess, like 20 feet up.
Okay. The pyramid is about 200 feet high, and you want to flying up to the top of it. It is what looks like glass. You can see through down into where the pool is below. The slowly growing brain in that pool, taking up a small portion of it. The circuitry seem to be intertwined with the pool, connecting to the brain itself, and then that one tentacled individual at a nearby desk and laboratory tables working on various circuitry. Do you intend to dimension door into that room?
That's the hope.
Okay. Do you wait 5 minutes until 5 minutes have passed?
Yeah, I want just when it's getting started to be when I go in.
Okay. So you arrive, waiting up there, preparing, communicating with those inside the sphere so that they're prepared. And about 5 minutes in, you see the mind flayer look up, looking towards the pool silently. Is Aeon summoned?
No, not right now.
Okay. The flare looks towards the pool and then out towards the front door. And as you begin to... Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, I'm going to look at the spot if there's enough room behind him so that if he's looking at the door, I'll appear on the other side. And I will think to Vesper through her dagger. All right, I'm going to give it a shot.
And as you all prepare and you use the focusing on that spot behind the mind flare, envisioning it in your mind as he looks away off in the distance, that's where we'll pick up next week.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Back to the Story. If you liked what you heard, give us a subscription. We're available on SoundCloud, Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, YouTube, and more. If you'd like to contact us, you can tweet us at back_the_story. And if you can't fit it into 280 characters, you can always email us at thebonfirefables@gmail.com. For behind-the-scenes sneak peeks, memes, updates, and more, follow us on either Twitter or on our Tumblr, back-to-the-story.tumblr.com. Lastly, if you're in a generous mood, feel free to buy us a coffee at ko-fi.com/backtothestory. We'll see you next time in Norithil.